Hi, I'm Jules, and welcome to episode 7 of the Honest Designer Diaries. And this is a podcast where we talk about what it's actually like to be a designer, the stuff that we usually keep to ourselves or that we only share with our closest and dearest designer friends. And today we are joined by the lovely Aseil, and she's talking about how she started off her journey and how she pivoted from architecture into brand design and owning her own agency.
And one thing I've been loving since I decided to do this podcast series is I get to chat to everyone. I think you and I grabbed 10 minutes on the bus, like from the hotel to Max, and we had a quick life download, didn't we? So I thought we have to chat on this podcast. What tells us a bit about yourself and how you got into design?
Yeah, I'm Aseil. I run a small agency here in London. We do branding and web design. I say branding and web design, but we really do anything that is graphic design related, except for fashion, because I feel like that's a complicated thing. But yeah, I run a little small team. We're in the studio here today. I got into design. I guess originally I studied interior architecture, so I did that. And then I graduated from architecture and then went into the wilderness. And very quickly I realized this is not the life that was sold to me at university. Because I feel like it was quite like, not like, I don't know, I want to say we had a lot of freedom in creating like our projects and stuff like that at uni. I did love my time at uni. But I feel like the second I went out into the working world, I was quickly like, I felt like it didn't match the dreams that I had. And from then I was like, I think I want to be somewhere more creative. I felt like architecture just wasn't creative enough for me. It felt way too like systematic. And then I left that to do some production design because then I thought maybe the movies is where I need to be. Like, I want to be in the films. And you know what? I would love to have been in the films, but then I realized that's also another scam after architecture.
That's still a switch from architecture into product design. That's still a big switch.
Yeah, so production design. I'm still obsessed with it to this day, actually. I love how movie sets are made. I love movies. I love movie sets. I love the whole thing about it. But like, it has a quick turnover time. Things are very go, go, go. It's all about who you know. And it was so hard to get into the industry. Like, there's a lot you had to do to even get in there. And whilst I was doing all of that, we kind of ran into COVID. So when I was helping production designers, I was also working with this set designer who would do things for like, I don't know, like Laura Mercier or Estee Lauder or whoever. And one of the projects was Herbal Essence, actually. And I remember we were about to go into lockdown and I was like, well, maybe we can turn this into like a PR package. Because it was meant to be like this influencer event, like a herbal essence event. And then I was like, well, I guess this would be a PR package then, because, you know, we could send it to people. And I think that was the first time I dabbled into graphic design. And that was the first time I understood what branding was, because we got their branding deck and we got their stuff. And I was like, whoa, whatever this is, I think I can do it. This is a vibe. And then we went into lockdown. This was March 2020. Then we went into lockdown. I was really like getting into like packaging. I was getting into branding. I didn't know what it was called at the time. I thought it was just graphic design. So I was learning like Illustrator tools. Like, I was really getting into that, because from architecture, you kind of do everything 3D. You design in 3D. Everything is 3D. And this was like 2D. So it is much easier than architecture and much more enjoyable. And I was like, oh, I could do this. And then I felt so ambitious that in the summer, I emailed like 100 local businesses. Like, I looked at the map and went on Google Map and just emailed every single one and DM them, messaged them, everything. And I said, does anyone want a graphic designer? And I would kind of do their, like, if it was like a coffee shop, I would do them a menu, like on brand for them. And I'm like, oh, I just made you a little menu. Like, do you want more? And I just did that until one of them said yes. I was actually quite offended that only one replied, but
I'd say you're actually super brave to even do that to begin with, but good for you.
Yeah, one of them said yes. So I basically took that and ran with it. And that person, that client, I actually ended up working with him for a couple of more years. And then he introduced me to his brother who had a restaurant. Then I was doing that. And so I was kind of just doing bits and bobs for like restaurants and coffee shops. And then I started posting my work. I think I did a 100-day design challenge that Christy, what's her name? Pink Pony. Christy.
Yes, girl in the sugar. Yep. Yep.
She did 100-day of design. So I kind of was like, let me just do that and see where I end up. So I did that. And I think from then I got clients. I practiced. I think more than anything, I practiced graphic design through those 100 days. And the rest was history.
Wow. There's so much. I love how you say it also casually. Yeah, I just switched from architecture to production design and set design. And yeah, then I just thought I fancy doing some packaging and influencer stuff and oh, what's branding? And I love the fact you're just like so nonchalant about it. Or there's other people would chronically overthink every step of those decision processes and self-doubt and not do it and hold themselves back and continue in architecture for a few years. Because obviously you've spent so many years, was it 4 or 5 years studying
Yeah.
architecture to
Yeah.
then walk away from it. But it is interesting how you said the realities of working in the industry was so different from what was perceived to be at university.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes and it is the same also in design, how you get these amazing briefs and how your lecturers are giving you feedback and stuff, and you have lots of time to come up with your concepts and stuff. But the reality is most people in their first design jobs are doing like the really, really boring stuff. One of my
Yeah.
first design jobs was as a junior designer, how cash machines. Do you know how you have the logos on the cash machines for Visa, MasterCard, and Switch at that point in time? I was having to create the film plates for those to be screen printed in separate colours, so doing the colour separations. That was literally like one of my so exciting first design projects in an actual agency. The work was very tedious and boring, but very, very technical. So the colour, a lot of the print processing.
I remember in architecture, it was like drawing door handles for a bathroom.
Yes.
Like that was it.
Yes.
I'm like, this is not what I was doing at uni.
So when you think about architecture, you think of designing the big buildings and the amazing structures and things, and then you see in reality you're designing a door handle. So it's very, very different. And even again, to then suddenly jump to production design. So how did you make that leap? Had you been aware of that world? Is it just something because it interested you? And as you say, even to get started and into it?
Well, from going from architecture to production,
Yes.
I just really loved movies. Like till this, like I go to the cinema every other week. Like I'm always in the cinema. I love it. I love movies, and I love how I think now that I'm older now I've realized what about it I love. And if I've turned all my projects into movie posters.
That's amazing.
And I say this a lot in our like on our website and stuff. I'm like, I see every brand as like a storytelling movie, like cinematic telling.
Yes.
Like I think it all comes down to telling a story, but then when you're looking at the backgrounds and you're looking at the films, you're seeing all these layers, all these layerings. It's not just a set. It's a set that's been like done, studied, designed, dressed, everything. It's like you're not going to walk into somebody's house and be like, oh, this feels like a movie. Not quite like that. I feel like movies are like really overly designed and overly layered because of the camera, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's more, you have to layer a lot on camera because there's a lot you could see. And I always say this, like when you're watching a great film, like the background is invisible, but bad design when it's visible. Like, do you know what I mean? Great design, invisible.
Yes. Yep, exactly.
But sadly, bad design is visible. So your job is to be as invisible as possible. And I think just especially with like horror movies, the way they could make the background look so creepy just by designing it that way. I was just obsessed. So I was just like going on IMDb and just like looking up who worked on this set or like films I really enjoyed. I would go and find out who did them and I was just emailing them. And I think a lot of production designers are actually from the UK.
Really?
And they just work on American films. And a lot of American films were filmed also in the UK as well. So yeah, I was just kind of like emailing and I just wanted to do. And to be honest with you, a lot of it was free work. You kind of volunteer, you want to get in there, you want the names. And then by maybe my 5th job, I got paid. But I did a lot of that in the beginning. Then I was getting paid.
But it is funny, and it's almost like you feel you can't admit that you did things for free, but to get experience, sometimes you just do have to volunteer. And I mean, it's very different if there's like internships aren't paid, but they're like official internships and they're trying to kind of like scam me. But if you are approaching people, in my early days, we called it shadowing. Like you would shadow another designer, and you're learning from them. And so I did that. when I was at college, there wasn't really official internships when I was at college. It was the 90s. But I would like that contact agencies and just ask, can I come in and shadow a designer for the day and just watch them? And I literally did that. I would literally go in and sit next to them, be like, hi, can I
Yeah.
watch work? And they were very lovely and very patient and just let me ask 100 questions. But I learned so much from that.
Yeah.
And again, how they actually worked in the reality of day-to-day projects, how little time they actually had. One was a advertising agency. So that made me realise I didn't want to go into advertising because I did not want to be having to design an advert in half an hour that was going to press for a 5 p.m. deadline, and clients were still making changes to it, like right up until 10 minutes before and stuff. So I'm like, no, that's a bit too anxiety driven for me. But it was super, super interesting watching them. And I think if I hadn't had those experiences before then, it would have been even scarier applying for my first junior design roles now an agency if I hadn't had that
What year
hindsight.
were you in school? Like, was it the 80s that you were in like school? Because
I
was British shop around.
graduated so college, there wasn't even a design degree when I was at college. It was just an
Okay.
HE. And I think it was 1994 I went to college and I graduated in 1997. So I started working in the design industry in 1997.
Okay.
So long time ago. So
but did you have Photoshop then, or was that not a thing?
yes.
Was it there? Right?
I was on the cusp though of the kind of desktop publishing kind of
Okay.
era of design. I started in college first year. We were on drawing boards and scamping up everything by hand and like having to lay out letter set and all the letters individually and where images went and positions and things. We did have to learn all that. And then by the
Right.
time I was graduating, desktop publishing had came in, and you had people called Mac operators who
Yeah.
were learning. Illustrator was like very, very early days. It was freehand around. Photoshop, I think it was like Photoshop 4, I think I learned on. And so it was very, very basic as well. There was no Adobe Acrobat, there was no PDFing things. So it was
Wow.
pre-PDF days. Lots of things we sent to print. Litho print was there was no digital print. So litho print was very expensive. So lots of jobs were one colour, two colour, and you had to know how to overlay and print in two colours. So I miss it sometimes, but at the same time, things are so much easier. But what I have found is because it's easier and things are quicker, the expectations of clients and how fast you can work is quicker. So
Yeah.
not so much time for experimenting and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
yeah, been designing long time, over 30 years been designing. So a
So
long time.
that's what fascinated me about you. Like, I'm like, just been through generations of design. Like, that was so cool that you get to like see it all kind of play
It,
out and stuff.
it is. And I do see a lot of conversations, and this is not what we're talking about today, but a whole separate conversation on AI, and it is very different. One part I'm very excited about, or one part I'm slightly terrified about, because I have went through the evolutions of branding at the very beginning. For me, design was from drawing on an artboard to doing everything on computer.
Yeah.
The evolution of litho print to digital print, also for photography, the head going from film to digital. And I've seen progressions, and I've seen that, well, we're still here. There's still work for designers to do. It doesn't completely freak me out and scare me off, but AI is changing how designers will work. How and very much how we work. I mean, for example, I always say to people, and I actually contacted my old boss to show him, we used to have to sit in Photoshop to remove a background. It would literally be like an hour of cutting a path in Photoshop and doing the blend. And if you had hair like mine that had
Yeah.
like,
Don't worry, I lived through that as well. I had to do that.
yeah, exactly. Well, you know how painful that was. And the fact that you can now, a click of a button, remove background is bloody amazing and essentially saves you so much time. This is the good things of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's why I love actually having all these conversations, because I love talking to other designers like yourself who are still like new in the industry, less than 10 years, and you're still finding what journey you want to go on and how you get to your path. And I'm going to have quite a mix of guests on. Like, designers like myself who've been here for decades, been through it and wore the t-shirt, and like newbies and people who are still students, just because everyone's got such different opinions and thoughts and experiences in the industry. And a big part of what I talk about and will talk about as well is when I started in design agency at 19, turning 20, there were no females that I could look up to. Not even over 40. They weren't even over 35. They were lucky if I seen anyone over 30 who's female. It was a very male-led industry. I was often the only female in the head agencies and things I was working in. And I thought by the time I had my kids, that I would need to leave the industry and not be a designer anymore. I didn't see a place for me because there was no flexible working, there was no remote working. Agencies are very much the client drives the deadlines, you work late, know how you sleep over, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't see a place for me. So I think now, looking back, that I'm turning 50 in a few months, that I'm still here and I'm still doing stuff and I'm still relevant, which is rather nice. And I hope it kind of inspires other designers that I talk to who are in their 20s and things that, Julie's like in her 50s now and she's still designing. There's still a place for me. I can see somewhere for me to go, because I didn't have that. And I think it would be nice to see that.
And that also like is a huge inspiration to me as well. Like seeing that, like you accomplish what you've accomplished, and also to still be here with. I mean, you're figuring out how to do a podcast. Even I don't know how to do that. Like in the era of AI, is crazy. Like it's something really admirable and inspiring for sure. So I love that.
Oh, thank you.
You're like my idol in the design world.
Thank you.
Mentioning the whole not having like a precedent, that was my issue. I did not like, also coming from like an Eastern background. I'm from North Africa. So we just, science, engineering, maths, like that is our brain. Everyone is an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. So I think that's how I actually had to negotiate myself into architecture. I'm like, I know my heart was in the creative industry, but I really needed to pivot them in. And I felt like architecture was like a people pleaser. Do you know what I mean? It was like a crowd pleaser. I was like, everyone is going to be happy. I get to do my creativity and they get to call me an architect. Amazing. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy it for the most part. I will say, like, I will never take it back, because everything I learned in architecture I use till this day. And till this day, I think everything I learned then is dedicated, it's sorted everything out for me now. So I just think it was just a matter of time to get to where I am, I think, and it like paved the way for me to be here for sure. But I didn't have a precedent to be like, I want to be like so-and-so, because so-and-so wasn't around. The vision I had didn't exist, I guess. Like, I don't know, it's so weird if I was to go back to, I don't know, 2017 me and be like, in 10 years, no, in 9 years, in 9 years, no. In 9 years, you would have your own studio, your own team, your own this, you'd be doing blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, okay, that kind of sounds like me. It sounds on brand, but how? Like, how do I get never until, do you know what I mean? I could never figure out, like, I knew what I wanted, but I just didn't know how to get there. And I didn't have a precedent that I could be like, oh, they did this and they did that, so I can follow suit. Like, we didn't have these things. Like, our inspirations were very limited. Our precedents were very limited. And I feel like I guess I had to go through the production design, go through the set design, go through COVID and reach out and message all these people, because I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know.
It's funny how you say you reached out to people, because I went to an event and it was Morgan, the local lassie who you know as well. She held her Doorways event, and it was purposely for students, because there was not really anything focused at students to help them find their way in the design industry and how to start off. Is often very much you go to college to get your qualifications and then you go into an agency. That's the only way.
Yeah.
So she called it Door, and she had people speak at the event to show that there's more than one way in. And one girl, Rachel, she came on my podcast, she's going to be my first episode. She had a job all lined up, a junior position. She thought, that's great, got a junior role. I've just leased a flat. I'm on holiday. And then she got an email while she was on holiday saying it was 2 weeks to start, that the job had fallen through. And you're just like, oh, what are you doing? And that's why she went into freelance. And a bit like yourself, like, you often think, well, this is my path. This is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And this is what I need to do. But then once you're in that path, you're like, this isn't really what I want to be doing. I don't know what I want to do yet. Like you were saying, you didn't even know what branding was, that there was a word for it. You just knew that you loved this thing. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you said to do is you were reaching out to loads of people. And she actually put, and I was purposely watching everyone in the room, and she did this, she put a slide up in her presentation. There's all these boxes of all the things she did to get freelance work. And it was literally DMing people on LinkedIn, and then it was like cold calling up agencies, and it was emailing them, and you could literally see the horror of all these people going, oh, not doing that, not reach.
Yeah.
I can't call people, or I can't email people. Sometimes you just, like, did you say that one person who replied when initially and let you design something for them, and then introduced it to their brother who had a restaurant, design the next thing, when you ended up wanting to kind of get a start, sometimes you have to do things that make you uncomfortable and that
Yeah.
you naturally wouldn't do.
Yeah. And it's hard to fall out of love with something because I'm someone who's so passionate. I'm like, yes. When I was in those 3 years when I was doing interior architecture, I was like, obsessed. I was like winning portfolio awards. I was winning this. I was winning that. And I was like, this is my calling in life. And then you graduate and it's like, you're like at the edge of a cliff looking down and you're like, oh, no,
Yes.
this is not where I want to be. Like, I genuinely think I've never felt so isolated and so lonely than graduating and reaching that. It really feels like reaching the edge of a cliff and looking down and thinking, whoa, this is not what I want. This is not it. Like, I climbed all this height to reach here and then be like, this isn't for me. And leaving that is quite hard. So then it was exciting when I turned to films and stuff like that, because that was the next thing I was enthusiastic about. Like, that was my next passion. And then again, that was also quite disheartening when you're calling them up, you want to shadow them, and you're there, you're seeing other people have that job that you want, but you're like, how do you get there? And they're like, yeah, you just need to do all these hours, and you're there from like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. sometimes to like 10, 11 p.m. at night. You're there a whole day, and you don't have the connections. Also, I didn't know what the networking, I feel like, wasn't a thing to me until recent years. I didn't realize about networking. You can ask people, like, again, coming from an Eastern culture, I'm Arab, you don't ask for favors, you don't ask for help. You're someone, you provide help. You know, if someone comes to your house, you do the absolute most. You're very hospitable, but you don't ask people for help. That you don't do, but you help people, but you know. So that was tricky, trying to ask for help and wanting things. And to be fair, I even struggle with that till this day. Like, people always say, oh, well, if you want brand partnerships, you need to reach out to the brands. Even now, I'm like still scared to reach out to brands.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I put myself off. I'm like, I don't have enough followers. I don't have enough credibility, like speaking stuff. Like, I would love to do speaking, be a speaker and do more stuff. But I'm like, I don't have enough experience yet. I don't have enough big clients yet. Like, doubting myself. I'm like, I'm not credible enough. But
You have
I
to
think
put that as your goal. You need to put that as your goal. You will get a speaking engagement for the end of this year. I believe that.
hopefully I do have that on my vision board. The other good thing I'm good at is creating vision boards and executing them. That I'm quite good at. But I think over the years, I've learned to trust myself. I've learned to ask. I've learned to reach out. I think I could be better 100%, but I think much better than I was back in 2018, 19, trying to navigate the industry.
Do you ever look back though and think and stop to look at what you've achieved? Like, obviously you're sitting here like, yeah, this is my creative studio. You have a team, you have an actual agency. You're not even like just for yourself. You've got work for other people as well. And you've done that in such a short time frame. I think you underestimate how much work that actually takes to build and achieve. Have you ever stopped to think about that?
No, not really.
No, you shouldn't.
I say this to when people say, oh, you've got all of this and you've got your business and you've got your team and you've got that. And I'm like, I wake up every day thinking we're going to be bankrupt. Like, I really do. I do wake up every day thinking, like, the fact that they emailed me the other day and saying my lease is coming like to a year, like it's coming to an end. I've been here a year. And I'm like, I've been here a year? Like, I have been surviving a year? Only when things like that come to me that I'm like, or I'm paying off a big bill, like a big accountant bill the other day. And then when accountants start flagging things to me, and I'm like, really? Am I making that much? Like, I'm not. I'm surprised. What do you mean? It's only then when I realize, okay, fine, I guess. Or when they come to you and you're like, oh, you're making all these profit margins and stuff like that. That's when I see my growth. But apart from that, every single day, day to day, I genuinely think I'm going to be on the edge of bankruptcy every day. And But it's not to a point where I get anxious about it. I don't think I get anxious because I always feel like the next thing's just around the corner. I do have
Yeah.
a good faith in that. But do I think everything is going to fall apart every day? Yeah. But yeah, I only realize the growth, or I guess how far we've come, when I get things from like accountant or things coming up to me.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, fine, I guess we did well.
The danger of being creative is we have over imaginative imaginations, and we catastrophize and all that kind of stuff. I still like think everything could all end tomorrow, and how those opportunities that I'm getting now are never going to happen again, or the brands get to work with, like brand collabs. I've never reached out to do a brand collab. The collaborations I've done, they've reached out to me first, and even then when the email comes in, you're like that. Oh my God, they want to work with me. They want to invite me to this event. And I actually was kind of thinking, but why me? Now, how you don't actually, you can't understand why you're getting invited. It takes other people to point out your strengths to you.
Yeah.
But I think, again, that's probably what gives you your drive as well, to keep reaching for the next thing and to keep going for that next job and work on that next project and things. That's what keeps you ticking over, isn't it?
Yeah, and I do think when I see like my clients do well, I feel like that's like a reflection of what we did to,
Yes.
like, we have a client that's recently featured on Vanity Fair and Vogue. I literally went and got Vogue cover.
Oh,
And I'm like, that is so cool that we got to do that for them, because this was actually a rebrand project. She already had her brand. She came to us, we redesigned it. Vanity Fair reached out, Vogue reached out, and I'm like, the reason why they reached out, yes, the product, I mean, it's a vitamin case. The product can only be amazing as far as you push it in branding and marketing. It's not like,
yes.
it's not something that you eat or drink, or the quality has to be good. It's a lot of it like aesthetic and strategy and marketing and
Yes.
branding big. So I thought that is crazy. That's like a reflection of what we've done for them. So when I see things like that, I'm like, that's really cool. And then we had
Yeah.
another client that Just Eat collabed with them and had a whole event there. And I'm like, cool, like big brands, big companies have looked at these brands and thought they were credible enough to be featured with them or collaborated with them. And the fact that we designed that, like I designed that, is crazy. Like, cool,
Yeah.
yes. And so
Uh,
seeing them do well and seeing them grow, even just seeing people go to a coffee shop I designed and they're like, really like the place. I'm like, yes, I did the interior. Like, it's so cool, like seeing that.
Yeah.
That's when I feel the most proud and most happy. Just seeing
Yeah.
how their customers or how their projects, like how they grow. I think to me that's really cool.
And I think that's the big thing about when you are in branding. It does feel so personal, and you get to know your clients really well. And like, you're a huge storyteller, and the storytelling is a huge important part of branding. And it's why I love the kind of strategy work, because you find out a little bits about them and why they've created their own brand and why they're passionate about it. And then
Yeah.
you pour that into the visuals for their branding to evoke that same message and how storytelling in their branding. So then when you see that works, it's almost like you just go, oh, it worked. And other people get that same feeling from the branding as well. So, and I think that's why I can't imagine doing anything else other than design and branding, because I love when you
Yeah,
get it
and
right.
also the other thing, the reason why I don't have like a lot of like massive breakdowns anymore, I sometimes just deep it. Like I have a sister who's a lawyer, and I have a sister who's a cancer researcher. So my sister that's in cancer research, she's dealing with life or death threatening like diseases and really crazy like super sensitive stuff. And my other sister, like I hear her going to court cases for people doing like 8 years or this happened or that happened, like life
Yeah.
or death. Both sisters have like life
Yes.
or death jobs. And I
Yeah.
think to myself, oh, I just get to do design. Like, it's really not the end of the world. Like their
Yeah.
customers have got life or death situation. Like one is going to court, someone's facing these years, and the other one has got this crazy illness. And it's like, wow, like I'm so privileged. And when I hear them like at the dinner table, this one's talking about that and this one's talking about that, I'm like, I am so privileged. Like I'm so lucky to do this. Like
Yes.
this could be for fun. So that's why I never like get too in my head. Like, you know, when I say I think I'm going to
Yeah.
bankrupt today, I never think about it too much. I do have that little bit of anxiety, but then I'm like, I'm literally just like,
Yeah.
I'm literally, it's not the end of the world. Like, or when there's problems with like projects and stuff, I try not to get too stressed about them. I'm like, there's always a solution. It's only design. Like, it's not somebody's life that you've got in your hand. Like, it's not
Yes.
that serious. There's always a solution. There's always a pivot. There's always something you can do. Sometimes expensive, but there's always
Yeah.
a solution that you could do.
And I think that's actually, I wish I had that attitude. I'm learning to have it more now, But in the past, I very much stressed and worried about every deadline that had to be met or else the consequences. And when I think back now, and like, what was the consequences? Something went to print a day late or
Yes.
later. It wasn't like life or death. But when you're trying to please clients and stuff and they're pressing on you that this is absolutely urgent and stuff,
Yeah.
I absolutely adhered to that and lost sleep and woke up middle of the night thinking I'd made a spelling mistake on a brochure I'd sent to print and all that kind of stuff. And I wish I'd relaxed a bit about it more and pushed back at clients who were absolutely pushing me too much to meet a deadline, which they would then break themselves further along the line when it was on their end.
Yes, I've
It was
noticed
me.
that. I have
Yeah.
noticed that as
And
well,
so the
yeah.
fact that you've reached that already, and I guess because you're literally grounded and centered by your sisters who are in these types of jobs and telling you about their day and stuff. And although I bet they're super interested in the stuff you do too, because it'll be so fascinating to them because it's so different. And probably when you're saying to them, right, I'm off to Miami, I'm going to, to be massive like that. Oh my God, that's so exciting.
Wow. So I never take it too seriously. This is more something I've come to like in the last year, that it's never that serious and it's never that stressful. And I used to be someone that works 24/7 through the night, through the weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, all of that stuff. Again, because my anxiety would keep me up all night. I'm like, this needs to do, I need to send this, I need to do that. And then I realized, no, they can just wait till Monday. Like they can just wait. If
Mhm.
so-and-so has to wait till Monday to get a blood test, they can wait to get things printed. Like it's never that serious. And yeah, now I've become good with like not actually replying after a certain time, and like I don't need to get back to you at 11 p.m. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
that. You can wait till the next morning. You can
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
I am trying to get better at that. And again, I don't reply at night anymore because to my detriment, I learned when I reply, I then just set expectations that the client knows I'm around and
I've
replying, and
noticed that as well.
it
Yeah.
becomes their habit when they're going to bed to send me up an
Yeah.
email, but then I'd lose sleep over that email. So
Yeah.
sometimes if I do have a client that I know I'm not going to like, their constant changes or I don't even look at the email until the next
I do
day.
that. I do that as well. Yeah, I do that.
I'm not a
That's a
super,
tiny thing. Yeah. I started
uh
doing that.
yeah, it definitely does help. And it helps protect your own creativity, I think, it's because it does start interfering with how creative I feel. If I don't,
Yeah.
like, if I'm too focused, I'm terrible. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I work all the time. But
Mm.
again, I mess about during the day. I'm not great focused. Like when I was in my 9 to 5, I struggled because I had to be at desk by 9 and I had to be in meetings and how doing work and stuff. And you just conform and you do it. But now that I work for myself and I can suit myself, I
Mm.
actually like having a much calmer day. I have 2 dogs. I get them out. I get walked. I've got an auntie that's in hospital just now, so I love the fact I can just pop in and see her during the day anytime. And I was parents listen to this. I was going to say I've got elderly parents who live around the corner. They would kill me for saying that because they're very fit and able. In fact, they're just off on holiday this morning, so they're not here. But I like
Yeah.
to pop in and see them. They're super independent. They're like nearly 80, but
Yeah.
they're like full of life, Philippines. But I like the fact I can just pop in and see them. And then I'll come home and then I'll start working in the afternoon and I'll happily work until the evening.
Same.
Because that suits me and I'm more creative at night and the house is calmer, the dogs are settled, my kids are home from their work, I've had a catch up with them, my husband's home from work, and then the house is quiet and then I'll work. And
Yeah.
I'm sometimes just click and switch on at like 10 at night and then I go ultra focused till like 1 in the morning. And that's like my most productive of days. But it works for me.
I'm like that as well. I actually think that's the reason why I got the studio, because I was getting so much was happening at home. I'm like, oh my God,
Mhm.
everyone to chat, everyone this, and it was so hard to reach my flow state. And then
Yes.
that was the reason why and I used to have loads of meetings as well. And I was like, I think I need a studio. And that's when I got the studio. And then now I have this thing where like, it's like a portal. I go in, I switch on, leave, I switch like I'm like, no, 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 it's work day's over. Like it's like literally I
Yes.
get like I blink and I'm like, wow, it's gonna be 3 o'clock in like no time. Like it's so crazy. But I do have certain hours where I'm like, I feel like from 3 to 7 p.m. it goes by in a flash. That myself, that's my most productive time, 3 to 7. Especially now that I'm in the studio, like from 3 to 7, time goes by so fast. And then in the morning, I am like a slow morning person. Like it takes time for me to really settle in. I need my coffee. I need this. I need that.
I do find what quite works for me. So I have arthritis and I have it in my hands, so the mornings are not good for me either. And I have a lovely husband who he's up the crack of dawn and out the door, but he puts a mug of tea in a thermal mug for me. So when I
Oh,
wake up, it's still warm and I have my cup of tea in bed and the dogs are in bed with me. They don't get up until I get up, so they'll happily snooze with me. But what I find is when I first wake up is I'll have a laptop and I'll kind of like fire off some emails, do wee bits and pieces, maybe plan my socials for the day, get them posted, and then I'll get up and about 10 o'clock, take the dogs out, a nice big walk, the house, sort go and get some food in or whatever, put something on in the slow cooker and go out if I need to go out. And then about, like you say, 2, 3 o'clock,
yeah.
head upstairs to my wee office. And this is my domain. And then that's me probably now till the rest of the night. And that suits me. And I like
Yeah.
that.
I think we should be. We're designers. We're creative. We should be just kind of going with what feels right.
But
You
it's funny how
know?
you often feel guilt. Like I've got a good friend of mine who's also a designer, but she's up and in the gym for 7 o'clock, and then
Mhm.
she's at her desk for 9, and she's super productive. And by 12 o'clock, she's already achieved all this stuff, and I'm
Oh
still
wait.
walking about in my jammies. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I've not done anything yet. But
Yeah.
I do work better at night, but for a long time felt guilty about working better at night. But I do better work at night
Yeah.
than I do during the day.
You know what? It's sort of like a scam. Like, so there was a time where my sister's firm is actually down the road from me. So she'd be like, oh, let's go to work together. And she has to log in at 9 a.m. So she's a start at 9, finish 5. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, because I come to the studio at 10:30. So I start 10:30. Because yeah, even when the girls are in, like 10:30 is when we start.
Yes.
And I just love it. We have a little morning meeting, da da da. Next thing you know, it's 11. We do a bit of work. Next thing you know, it's lunch. And then we just zone, which was
Mhm.
perfect. But my sister, yeah, so she was like, oh, like, come with me, we'll go studio together, you'll be there an hour, you'll be like a few hours early. So I'm like, okay, I'm here 9 a.m. Like, okay, she finishes at 5 p.m. And I'm like, from the 9 a.m. that was here till the 5 p.m., I don't think I made as much progress as I do when I come in at 10:30 and I leave at 7 or 8. I actually leave at 8. From my p.m., I swear I'm much more productive than I was from 9 to 5. Like, I was here at 9 a.m., I didn't really get into it till 10:30 anyways. And then 5 p.m. felt like middle of the day for me. And she was like, yeah, I'm coming to pick you up now. And I'm like, I still have a meeting at 6. Like, what do you mean?
So what do you think is next for you? Are you happy to stay where you are now you've got how you're creating the studio and things and you've got your kinds, or are you already thinking of what's next for Aseil?
Um, well, I definitely want to do more speaking, more like, I want to be on more panels. I want to yap more. I want to do more talking
Yes.
things. But again, I keep thinking I'm not credible enough. Like, I
Well,
don't
you
have enough
are.
experience. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm like, what can I offer to people? I do feel like I have a lot to offer to businesses, I think. Actually, to be
Mhm.
fair, and designers coming up in this industry. Hold on a minute. Maybe I do have some
You
insight.
do, absolutely.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do. So I would love to do more of that and kind of. So right now, I feel like I actually have it written. He said, I'm going to read that because I feel like that is
Yeah.
my goal. I'm going to go get it because I pinned it. He said, starting a business, you're 100% in the technical and less cognitive and less human. As the business grows, you then divide your technical skills. So in the beginning, I'm just designer, designer, designer. As you grow into a business, you're then human as well. So you've got 50-50. I'm doing 50% of the technical design work. And the other 50, I'm dealing with the clients. I'm talking to them. I'm getting them in. As you grow more, he says you need to become more cognitive. So, and drop down your technical skill and drop down your, not drop them down as in like, forget about them.
Yes.
But you're less in the technical and you're less in the human and you're more in the cognitive. So you're more on like, what am I going to do with the business? Where's next for us? Where are we going to go? So you kind of work on the business and then all the technical stuff your team does and all the human stuff your team does. So they can start dealing more with the clients. They start doing more of the design stuff and you start thinking more of it as a business and you strategize that more. So as I grow, and he's actually written that down. He said, right now you're 60% technical, 20% cognitive, and 20% human. So 20% of the time I'm dealing with clients, 20% I am strategizing and doing content, and 60% I'm designing. So I do feel like I'm too involved in the design of the project. I'm too involved in the project. And as a pro, I do want to start getting out of the projects and more on the business. I want to do more of the speaking gigs, more of the content, more of the strategy. I would love to have like a series, like an actual like film series, like get a videographer and start making content on YouTube, long form. And because there's so much, I have a lot of clients that are local to me and I go to them and there's always a drama and problems happening. And I'm like, that could be so fun to film.
Yes.
I don't know, in the future, like I wouldn't mind having like a TV show, like kind of like those Selling Sunset and those like $1 million listings, but like on a much more like, you know, London agency owner that has a team and they run to all these dramas and all these businesses and we're problem solving them. And you have all these characters and, you know, it's cool, fun, but it's about design and leading a business and an agency. I think that would be really cool.
I think that would be really cool, and it's definitely something that I'd be interested in watching. I mean, I loved just having my chat with you when I met you now in Miami. I could totally see that. I find agency life and what happens agency and what happens to clients and the real life problems as they happen and the troubleshooting you need to do as creatives to find solutions, that kind of stuff is endlessly fascinating. And you're already so good at the storytelling and the behind the scenes. And now when you showcase your clients' work and things on social, it's like a natural progression and having that history. So I absolutely think if it's not on your vision board already, it needs to be on your vision board.
Yeah, I do. I really want to do more speaking. But then I'm like, I get so lost. I'm like, what do I talk about? What do I do? Where do we start? Like, and then that's how I talk myself out of it. I'm like, that feels like the whole
But I
planning.
think about the way you approached everything else, you literally went head first in it and did it.
Yeah.
But now you're starting to go down to the granular detail before you even start, which is not what you did before. You just went in there, launched it. So have you got your YouTube channel? Have you opened it up and just got it there?
No. But I did get a camera. And I have been documenting a lot of random clips, like getting the studio, my open show, Adobe Max.
Yeah.
Stuff for my clients when they had the launch. So I do have footage.
Yes.
But I haven't edited it. I haven't looked at it. I haven't put it all together. Because I do think the number one important thing is documenting. I say that to everyone. Even growing up, even when I was like 10, 11, whatever phone I had, I would document. I have videos and content of me and my siblings on our summers from like 2008, 9. Like I have them. And back then, like they weren't even going anywhere. So I'm really good at documenting. I think I always say, oh, it's for the memories, for the memories. So when they do a documentary about me. So that's why I'm always really cautious about pivotal things or like milestones or things like that happen. I'm like, these need to be documented. Like, even if I don't edit it, even if it doesn't see like it's not released or anything, it's just really good to have that there. So I am good with documenting, but I'm not good at editing and putting it together and launching.
Shushed. You've been so good. Shushed. He's been so good and he's just starting. So what advice would you offer other designers or other creatives who would love to get into design but are doing a job that's very, very different? What advice would you offer to them that's been in the same situation you were when we were standing at that precipice, like looking over and wanting to change direction? What advice would you give them?
I would say the best time to start would have been 10 years ago, but the second best time to start is tomorrow.
Yes.
That's what everyone said to me. Also, this takes me back to university when I was graduating. We used to like present our portfolio to your examiner to make sure you actually got the mark, that you actually are worthy of the mark you got. So I was on the higher ranking, so I guess I had to meet up with the examiners and show my work. And as I was showing to her, I think when I was talking to her, she was like, oh, what is your dream? I actually think I said to her, I would love to have my own company one day. I remember saying that. And she actually said to me, if you're going to start, you might as well start now. And I'm like, no, but I need industry experience. I need experience. And I'm like, no, I need to be in a company, I need experience. And she goes to me, well, if you don't start now, you're going to be in the 9 to 5. Then next thing you know, you're saving. Next thing you know, you have bills. Next thing you know, you have a mortgage. Then you can't get out because you've got a lot of financial things you need to pay for. So she goes to me, if you're going to do anything on your own, you need to do it right now. And I remember thinking, I remember like leaving that conversation. I'm like, she's ready. It's like, she's right. Like, if I have any shot at doing anything, it has to be now. I would say that now again. I'm like, especially if you're in a job and you've made enough savings and you've got that cash as your back, like in the background, I think start maybe doing side hustles or whatever, posting content, whatever it is you're passionate about. Have that time after work. Like you finish at 5, maybe from like 6 to 8, you're doing this, or from 7 to 9, you're doing this. Like make that time for it. And all the weekends, like if you're really passionate and you really want to, like I'm sure you can find pockets in the day or hours in the day to just put in that time or research, whatever it is, just to get you one step closer to where you want to be and have that like cash saved. I guess I think I was a little bit luckier because again, I graduated like what, 19, 20, something like that. And then I was living at home with my parents. So I'm like, I do have the luxury of being at home with my parents. But again, to me, I'm like, this is the best time to ever do anything. If I want to do anything, it has to be right now. I remember like thinking, I don't want to be struggling. I don't want to be like, not struggling, but I don't want to be lost by 30. I remember thinking that. Like
Yeah.
especially on someone who's like got a moral compass and follows it. And when I came out of architecture and realized I didn't want it, I was 21. And I was like, I can't be aimless for that long. I need to figure out what it is. So I think that's, I spent from 21, I think, and I started Design Wolf at 27. So from 21 to 27, I feel like that was a very lost period for me. It was a lot of trial and errors. It was a lot of shadowing, a lot of free work. But in my head, I was like, I need to figure this out before 30. I need to figure it out. I need to like, I did put a lot of pressure on myself to figuring it out. But I think that pressure then made me reach out to people. Cool. Do that work, do a lot of research, watch a lot of YouTube videos of people that production designers. I was watching them. Like, if you are interested in branding, watch branding designers and see how they got there. If you're interested in film, watch all the film directors and see how they got there. So I think I was doing a lot of studying as well, figuring out what I wanted. And I think that's what I spent a lot of time doing from 21 to 27. And then I think 26, I was like, whatever this is, I kind of want more of it. And I doubled down when I was 27.
Yeah. And I think that's very true because like my kids are now 22 and my son's turning 18 next month. And the advice we are giving them is like, don't be in a rush to move out of home. We are happy to have you here. Figure out what you want to do. Like make the mistakes now, experiment, try things out.
Like every 10 years, you kind of have like a reinvention or something. So it was like when I was 20, I was like, oh, I want to be an architect. And then now that I'm 30, I'm like, I just told you what I want to do. But then maybe 40, it changes again. So I'm like intrigued for what the next decade would look for me, actually.
How about you just let people know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you?
Absolutely. It will be at Design Wolf London. Well, LDN. So at Design Wolf LDN on Instagram and on TikTok.
Well, thank you again for coming on and chatting. I've loved our conversation and I can't wait to hopefully see you at an event soon in person and get a wee hug.
Yes, I'm excited. Thanks for having me. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anything we've talked about in this episode has hit a nerve a little bit, or you've had a similar experience, I would genuinely really love to hear from you. You can send me a message, leave me a comment if you're watching on YouTube, or share your own story with me. Because honestly, the more we talk about this stuff, the more we realise so many of us are dealing with the exact same things, the same experiences, the same situations, and can really help each other by talking more openly about it. And if you want a space to chat with other creatives who get it, I've got a community called The Creative Room. It's a really supportive space. We talk about the struggles, the rants, the clients, creating content, marketing yourself, all the other stuff that comes with running a creative business or working in this industry. I'll leave the link in the show notes if you fancy joining us, and I'll catch you in the next one.